hey. You gotta think about it. Think about it.
Hey guys and girls, I hope everyone is doing well. I don't know who started this one. It might have been Retro Red Steve, might not be. Yeah, hopefully you would have seen by the title, and there's been a ton of other videos. I'm really late in the game, but people going through and calling out their favourite game for each of the systems. I think it has to be a game that you own. For me, we'll go through, but it's probably a common theme, and maybe it's similar with other folk that have been going through their choices. But it's not necessarily some of these aren't the best games on the system. Full stop, as in they're not all winning awards, albeit some are, but they're ones that I hold personally really high up. And if I'm going to grab that system, then more likely than not, I'm going to grab that game. So a lot of them are kind of pick up and plays, and not all of them. But predominantly they are ones where, you can do 30 minutes or an hour or a few hours, just getting stuck in, switch off, and then another time put back in, and then just enjoy. I think aside from a couple, most of them you can just do that. There's not much, not too not hours and hours, should we say, that goes into them in order to complete. I've tried to keep them chronological, but it's taken me a good hour just to shows that I've just got shit everywhere in the house. It's taken me a good hour, I think, just to pull stuff together, and that's separate from obviously pulling the list together, the various bits. And the final thing I'll say, because I know as always I'm waffling, I'm going to split into two bits, whether or not I'll go within the same video, but there'll be two parts. The first one will be consoles, the second one will be like handhelds. Albeit, so the likes of the Switch, which I've got in here, you can do it on both, and Evercade as well. But general rule of thumb, I'm making it up as I'm going along, aren't I? Anyway, let's start from the beginning. It's not necessarily the start of my gaming journey, but I think it's one of the earliest games that one of the oldest games that I've got in the collection, and it links to the Vectrex Beast that's sitting behind me in its armor attack. Apologies, you're going to get some glare and all the rest of it, but fantastic. I guess a kind of bit of an arena shooter. You're a jeep, you go around, you've got a couple of tanks trying to take you out at the same time, you've got a helicopter that sweeps across the maze. It's just really fun game that anyone can play. My son, if I've got it left on there, he'll have a little play, and he never beat my top score. Not yet anyway, I'm sure he will in a couple of years. But it's just a really cool game, and a game I think I would have absolutely adored back in the day to own this. Almost kind of aspired to play something against this. Me and my kind of specky background, I'm not saying the Spectrum wasn't capable of something like this, but it's second to none when you got it on the Vector display. It just looks blooming beautiful with the overlay covering the the map elements to it. But it's brilliant. One of those easy to pick up, easy to play, but challenging to master if you really want to get through it and get a decent score. Then we fell back into my childhood. So I did have a 48K. I'm just going to consolidate the specky stuff together. But I did have 48K, and then I had a +3. I had this game in both cassette formats, and I was lucky enough to have it on disc. I've no idea what happened to the disc. It probably was sold on at some stage, not by me, but by my mum and dad, or it was lost. I'm not entirely sure, but I managed to get it back. And I'm pretty sure this is another folks' choices. So Renegade. Dave plays retro badly. I'm sure he's got it in his picks, but it is fantastic beat 'em up. I'm sure it's the first beat 'em up I would have played. After this, it would have been like one of the Double Dragon games on the Game Boy. But this is where it started for me. Probably the first proper game outside of some of the more fantastic games. Horace Goes Skiing and some of the games that came with the Spectrum as well. Some of those more kind of vanilla titles. I know Stu, Generation Pixel would kill me for saying that the yeah, Horace games are kind of vanilla in any sense, but to me this took it to the next level. Even the graphics, I mean, if you put the kind of the color palette to one side, I think for the time the graphics were awesome, but what really kicks ass in this quite literally is the playability. There's only one kind of, you know, punch or action button, but depending on you know, playing on the joystick, how you're facing, you're almost a bit of a combo move. If you're hot, you know, the enemy's down and you go over them and you go diagonally down and hit action, and then you're knocking their teeth out on the floor. If you get to a certain you kind of stun them and get quite close, and you can grab them and throw them, and it's just lots. It's more than just kind of punches and kicks, and it is. I still say it's pretty hard. I played it again this weekend. Fired up the +3. Thanks again to Claire Retro Bear for fixing that, and it's still tough. It's apps. I mean the it wins prizes on a few fronts, but that cover art is just beautiful. And yeah, it's almost akin to, like, you know, the Warriors film. Love that, love this. And perhaps my memory's fucking awful, but perhaps this is the first game that I played where there was there's bosses at the end of each level. There's a boss of the first one in the subway. You've got this mean dude that's kind of hanging in the background, but once you've taken out a few of his gang, he then comes into the fray and then joins the ruckus. So a lot of firsts for me, this one, and even being way, you know, single digits. Crumbs, I don't know how old I would have. So this is 86. Yeah, so I was been like 7, 8 years old. Whether or not that's how old I was when I first played this, maybe I was. I don't think I was, 10 plus. So just the sounds bad now, doesn't it? But like the knives and the mace and the weapons just made it even more thrilling. So that was cool. Talking of weapons, there's a fighting theme going for it, albeit I only fight through systems as opposed to in real life, where my thin powers would get me the absolute shit kicked out of me. But on video games, it's where I carry my fists and my shuriken stars, because now we've got Sega Master System. So this is the first console that I owned, and I was lucky enough. I did have the 3D package on there, so you got the 3D. I always get it wrong. Was it I would say missile defense, but I know maybe 3D defense on the 3D games, where you donned up like Spaghetti Junction with the 3D glasses and the phaser. But then this was the next game I got. Obviously, you just needed the controller. Shinobi, an absolute Sega classic. I'm sure everyone knows and hopefully loves this game, this series. And yeah, never. Trying to think, I completed it once with a little bit of guidance from Retro Red Steve around Bloody Mandara, one of the most horrific bosses that you'll ever come across. But back in the day, I never got past Mandara, and if I was to try today, I'd probably spend 8 hours just trying to do it and fail dismally. It's just a pain in the ass boss. Just can't quite master it. But yeah, awesome game. Really, really cool. This one, yeah, so I don't have many NES games. I've kind of whittled down my collection a bit. He says, yeah, trying to refocus. I think I did a video on refocusing, but I think I counted as near enough like 30 games here, so 30 systems. So yeah, maybe I didn't focus quite hard enough. But on the NES, I played this one briefly in a local toy shop that had an NES plugged in, and they had Mario 2, which just was a bit weird. Even at the time, I thought this is a bit strange, obviously for obvious reasons now, being like the reskinning or the kind of reshell. But yeah, did play a bit of this one, and then when I got the SNES, I got it through Mario All Stars. So Super Mario 3, absolutely incredible game. Yeah, still looks beautiful, plays so well. It is a true joy, a true like pick up and play. Like I was talking about a few minutes ago, you can just whack this on and just have a lot of fun with it. I'm sure again it'll probably appeal. It hasn't appeared already in other people's selections, as perhaps will this one. So if we jump to yeah, probably got the ordering wrong. And interesting for one or a couple of reasons really. But Streets of Rage 2, an absolute corker. But what I was going to say is I was hunting around and then I realised I don't have this box. I've got this, I think it's on obviously it's a standalone cart, but then I've got it on a collection cart as well. So like a Sega Ages one or Sega Classic, whatever it is. I'm sure it's on there. And, but yeah, don't have, even that I don't have the, say don't have some, I'm misfortuned. I'm not at all, but yeah, I don't have Box Power or even, do collect a few like Japanese Mega Drive games and not in there either. So yeah, I'm sure it's a pain in the arse because it's probably, I say super pricey, probably pricier than it was when I picked this one up whenever that was. 47 on the side, no idea. But yeah, what I mean, it just takes the likes of, Renegade to the next level. The music is just simply, stunning. Almost plays like an arcade, the arcade game that never was, I guess. But it just, still plays like a bit of like it should be an arcade classic. But I won't say much. Again, I'm sure everyone's played and enjoyed that one. Relatively new system for me. I say relatively new, probably like 2 and a bit years I've started collecting for the PC Engine. Got a few like CD games and a few cue cards, but I've just opted, just grouped it together. Is it the best game on the system? I'm sure it isn't, and I'm sure those that know more about the system will probably quote 50 games that sit above this one. But for me, it's a lot of fun. It has to be a shooter, obviously, because it's the PC Engine, and so it's an Irem game. The folk that made R-Type, I think it came out shortly. I was going to say shortly after, around about the same. Must be shortly after. It's got 1990 on it, maybe after R-Type. So it's not R-Type. It's Image Fight, and I'm sure it's an arcade game. Pretty sure it came out on the NES, but tell me if I'm talking bullshit. I'm sure it's come out on the NES, albeit I haven't played it on that. And it flips it around, so it's a vertical shooter as opposed to a horizontal one, which R-Type is. And it's just it's a lot of fun. Made even more fun, I'll be honest, by let's say we're doing a high score challenge with 90G Steve, but just trying to see how far we can get and kind of exchanging notes and strategies and things. But it's one of those, like most of these shooters, I guess, where it pays to learn the landscape of the levels where the enemies are coming from, making sure you're lined up in the right place, and ideally hanging on to your power-ups for as long as possible, because as soon as they go, you're super you're vulnerable. Bit of a funky plot. I hadn't realised until I started to look at it, not that it kind of makes much of a difference to the gameplay, but the first few levels are almost like in the plot of the game, like a simulation. You don't know it, just it's like a shooter. And but they're kind of testing you. You're almost training in order to do the real fight against the aliens. So it's a bit of a nice little twist. I think it's quite obvious up front, because I think if you don't hit a certain score, I believe for the levels, you have to, I don't know if you necessarily redo them. I think it chucks in extra challenges for you, but it's such a hard game, but not an unfair one. And it's a lot of fun. So Image Fight. Another lot for this. They're all bloody lots of fun, otherwise why would I be showing them? So again, for me, a bit like the PC Engine. We've bored people with this story before, but spent a lot of time in France growing up, particularly at holidays, and my kind of holiday treat from my mum and dad was they'd get me like a couple of 1 or 2 video games magazines, and when I was going through them, there's always 2 systems that jumped out that I just really didn't recognise from back here in the UK, because I wasn't that wasn't that well travelled. I was still like young. I'd see what was in the Argos catalogue and I'd see stuff that was in the shops, but I didn't have any import shops anywhere near me. So PC Engine, I had to read about that in the magazine and be like, bloody hell, how can these graphics be so awesome? I still think that to this day, they are amazing. And then the other one was the Neo Geo. So And I used to look at the prices even then and think, shit, these are like crazy money. And that was the AES stuff, really. But I was just like, oh my god, that's just, about 3 times as much for one game as my, my Game Boy system. It's like my mum and dad would never do it. And it was just would have been it was a pipe dream. Never went near it. And then recently, I've mentioned him again, it's pure by coincidence, but with Steve, 9EG was moving on his MVS, like consoleized MVS, and I kind of bought that from him. We did a pucker deal. There's a few games in there. I think I got a shop box for this one. I can't remember if it came with it. I don't think it did. I might be wrong. But yeah, Turf Masters, one of the finest arcade golf games that there is. It's just so much fun. Again, the graphics, that kind of cartoony look. It's got like the Neo Geo aesthetics. It's very recognisable, as a Neo Geo game from that time. And when I was a bit older, I started to see it in the arcades near where I am. And soundtrack fab, and it's just again very, very simple direction for your shot. A bit like not that dissimilar from like a Nintendo, like a Mario Golf game. Up down to choose your club, and then you've got your power. Press the button, and then your accuracy, and then bosh. But it's tough, but it's fun. Again, even my son and I, was saying about just whacking stuff on and just having a bit of a play every now and again. Well, I have to do a bit of golf, but what a game! And it's a chunky old cart, but it's plastic. I might smell this one. Try and box and sell that to your retro gigs. Let's continue. So next up, we have got. I'll declare it now. I'm not going to show any PlayStation, as in original PlayStation, as in PS1 games. I do have one. There's one sitting behind me. But it's mainly my son plays it and does TV. He's really into TV. He's obsessed with. He's obsessed with TV video games like Weakest Link and Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and stuff. So we have got a couple of shooters for it and a couple of other something like Ridge Racer and bits like that. But I didn't feel it was significant enough a collection to be able to say this, because I'm not really on it that often, and he's on it. I don't know what he'd pick if he was to choose. Probably Weakest Link or something like that. So for that reason, we're jumping to the N64. Had shared this console with 6 other people in a crazy house in the late 90s, a student house. And this was, I don't know if we got this with the console. It's probably had it, I think we got it it was shortly after one of the guys brought it back. When we got the console with GoldenEye, I think Mario 64. What else do we have? I think that was it. Didn't have many games. Then we got some cheapo games. We didn't have much money. Automobili Lamborghini, Dark Rift, and someone brought this one back. Turok, the first Turok, Dinosaur Hunter. Awesome guy. Still keep in touch with Will, who does really amazing artist. And back then he could draw some beautiful stuff. He had a good taste in music and video games, and he brought this back. And just absolutely blooming love it. First person shooter. Obviously it's got a bit of mech. It's got some dinosaurs, some bloody great dinosaurs in there. But what I think we loved most about it was, the array of weapons, but also the size of the levels. And I've bought it a bit of a hypocrite, because I do every now and again I do get digital if it's super cheap and cheaper than the physical re-release. But I did get Turok in the Switch, on Switch Store, whatever it's bloody called, Nintendo Store, for it's only like £2-3. And I played a few levels of this, and it kind of did surprise me again how vast the levels are. Not necessarily always complex, but you do find yourself sometimes retracing similar steps. It's got that underwater bit to it as well, which always kind of plays in my brain a bit. In terms of the complexity, but freaking awesome game. Love this one. And it got a lot of, sure we completed it back between us. We were just, on it all the time. Should have been studying a bit more, but hey ho. This next game had to come up at some stage. I bought this system really for this game, and I bought some stuff via Japan, from this awesome seller who now I'd consider to be a friend, because she's kind of scouted out a few bits. I could have got it over here, but I was getting a few things, and she's just like, look, I'll pick one up, get a really nice version for you. And your Kiko, nice little note which I keep in there. And played at the arcades down the seafront. I'd owned it on the Spectrum. I think I played it on the Game Gear, a few different ports, but it never was topped until I played it on the Saturn. And it was Chase HQ. I think you get 2 games on this. You get the SCI, Special Criminal Investigation as well. But I'm Chase HQ. The first one is where we're at with this with Nancy. It's just beautiful. Plays like kind of how I remember it at the arcade. The only time it's ever been bettered since playing this version on the Saturn is Sega Zombies, because he's got the friggin' arcade, the lucky bugger. And the high-low, the gears, and they just, oh man, that was beautiful. To pay him a visit to get back on that machine, but this will do me just fine in the meantime. Absolutely corking game. So cheers, your Kiko for that. It's well looked after. It's got a spine card and everything in there. It's just super duper. There's one where I just wanted it good. We're gonna go for the Nintendo GameCube. How are we doing? 20 odd minutes. The GameCube next. This far, I'd say like better, more involved, longer games with more going on. But as a pick up and play, and from just an action entertainment game, this one, shoot me down. I think it's been out on the PlayStation as well, or PS2, I'm sure. But Rocky on the GameCube. Had this back in the day, and just love it as an arcade. There's like Ready to Rumble and all that, but this to me, because it's bloody Rocky, and I'm sure it's got Mr. T, on Clubber Lang, the Russian Ivan Drago, Tommy the Machine Gun, a bit of a pillar, and Apollo, and obviously the man Rocky is Mr. T in the corner. Clubber Lang, but just love this one. The training bits a bit cheese, but the music, and I think it's got its own soundtrack. I think it has got the main Rocky tune or theme, but beyond that, I think it's got its own soundtrack. But it just works. It's very, very slick, and it's just nice. Literally KOing people. I might have to play this in a year or so. I might have whacked this on in a bit. So that's super, super cool. One of the first RPGs. I don't say it's the first ever one, because there would have surely been some that came for me before this one. But for the Xbox, fortunately, it's one of those backwards compatible ones that still plays on the likes of the Series X, unless that fucking changed anything. Knights of the Old Republic, massively into some Star Wars, as anyone watch channels should know. The plot with this one, and some of the twists and where it goes, the turn-based fighting mechanics, just the Star Wars universe. It's just an incredible game. I did start to play the second one. I've still got the second one, but never got into it really as much as I did this one. I had more time on my hands back then, but I just demolished this game. I just did not put it down, and absolutely love it, which is cool. And then we're going to jump to Dreamcast again. I mean, I was umming and ahhing. There's some great games on the Dreamcast. Even like the Power Stones, like the Shenmue games. But again, I'm like, okay, how often do I really grab one of them if I want to have a session on the Dreamcast? It's going to sound a bit nuts, but the game I picked up, I stand by this choice, Virtual Tennis 2. It's one of the finest tennis games that there is. It's not, not too arcadey, but yet equally it's not too, it's not really realistic, but it just just plays really, really well. And you can have some I don't know, it's very entertaining rallies in it. You've got the Williams sisters. Seems like it feels like they've been around for like forever. And our man in the UK, our boy, the Henman Hill, so Tim Henman. But yeah, love that game. Absolutely love it. So right, on the final stretch of the home consoles as opposed to handhelds. How many we got? We've got 7. So yeah, next we're gonna go for the Wii. Next, I think this is in order. We'll see. A game that I still play to this day. I do think it's the Wii version is probably a bit more reliable version to play it on versus say the PlayStation equivalents, just by putting the Wiimote into the accessory, which is the guitar. Of course, it's Guitar Hero, but which one is it? It's Guitar Hero 3. So I mullered this one myself and my sister one Christmas. People would come in to visit, like family would come to visit, and we just had this set up in the front room, and everyone got involved in it. Some played better than others, but everyone gave this a spin. It's just got so many good songs. Some, a lot of songs at the time I knew of, some I didn't know of. And now I look back and think, bloody hell, I wasn't, for example, it sounds crazy, but I wasn't massively into like my Iron Maiden at that age. I had mates that were, but I didn't really know many of the songs, got Number of the Beast. Since, then and now, I'm all over the Maiden. Was into the Beastie Boys, like Sabotage, Sex Pistols. I must have had Nevermind the Bollocks album. We got Anarchy in the UK. Obviously, Welcome to the Jungle with Slash. On the front, Paranoid, a bit Stone Roses, She Bangs a Drum, Balls on Parade. Oh my God, who's that by? Rage Against the Machine. The Seeker, The Who. It's just like such a good collection of songs, and I couldn't do it on like expert or anything like that. I can't remember what difficulty to do is. It's probably 2 or 3 in. I do play a bit of guitar, but it's still challenging. 20 tunes, over 20 tunes. Absolutely awesome. This one, Nintendo Switch. So I didn't have like PS. I had a PS3, but only for like a few months, and then other stuff was going on, and I moved it on quite quickly. It was a little time where I wasn't doing much gaming, and the gaming that I was doing was when I was traveling for work, and it was typically it was on a handheld. So I got the Switch, and this is the game that I got it for. So yeah, Breath of the Wild, and this isn't. Yeah, weirdly, I got the Switch. I got a couple of other games, and I kind of moved it on. I needed some money for other stuff was going around. Always collecting and kind of buying and selling, and obviously rebought a few years ago, a couple of years after. I'll buy get another one and buy the bloody game again. Still a classic game. I'll confess, I hadn't really got into Tears of the Kingdom. I put like a couple of hours into it. I've just like, people are saying, it's even better and this and that, but I don't know, something about it. Maybe I'm not investing enough time. There's too many other distractions in life, but I lock myself away and just focus on it. Maybe I'd love it even more, but for me, this is still the finest Switch game. And there must be thousands of blooming Switch games out. Since then, there's some others that are, like the Metroid Dread, some of the Mario games, like the first party Nintendo ones, but equally some of the indie games. I think have done a great job on those. But this is amazing game. I had to work out a way to fit this one into the collection. Like I said, I didn't have a PlayStation originally, but by all accounts, I don't think it's a bad way to play it through the remake. But Resident Evil 2. And I put this, so the Xbox One was kind of how I smuggled this in, albeit because it played on a PlayStation, and it will be just as much fun. Albeit some Sony hardcore people would say that that one's even better, but to me it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other. Shoot me down if you will. But again, absolutely fantastic game. I didn't play it. Like I said originally when it first came out, waited for the remake, and yeah, super cool. I played the Resi's games all completely out of order in terms of, I think 4 was the first one, and then I think I did 1 and then 2, and then jumped to 7, 8. It's all, yeah, very like higgledy piggledy, but yeah, super cool game. The puzzle elements, you know, the zombies. Yeah, need I say more? Everyone, most people would have played that one, like this one. So I didn't have the PS3, which it came out on originally, but through getting the PlayStation, I didn't have a PlayStation 4 either. I jumped those generations, got the PS5, which obviously there's not many. I picked one for this thing, but it's not many PS5, you know, games. I said, well, you know, exclusives, and so yeah. But yeah, Last of Us, and by this time, it already got. I mean, it's like the hits as well. It already got a lot of praise. Perhaps, yeah. Did I know much about the second one? I wouldn't have played obviously the second one, but I just got absorbed in it. And even my wife, who's not really into gaming, she didn't play it, but if there was certain, she'd sit down and watch and be okay, what's you know, what's happening, and certain the plot lines and the twists, and you get that emotional attachment to the characters. And yeah, I did love the second one. I know people do like to hate on it a bit for various plot reasons, but I think I'll go back to, out of the two, go back to this, and I have gone back to this one over the sequel. And yeah, just a fantastic, just exploring, going around, and even when you've completed it, just treating it like a bit of an action fest and playing it less seriously, just to take out the zombies, can be a lot of fun. Sorry for the jump cut. As always, front door went. It wasn't even post for me. How gutting is going with that? It's either the door or the washing machine. One of the two things. I think I covered that one off. Awesome game. Hopefully I got to, once you work through it, and then you just treat it like a bit more fun, a bit of an action game, with a bit of less, take it a little less seriously, and just go and blitz everything. And particularly the last part is a heck of a lot of fun. Next up, we've got the Evercade. It's a dual cart, as in there's 2 games on the one cart. But the one I'm interested in, the one I'm going to talk about, is Xeno Crisis, which is, since this has come out, it's now on a gazillion different formats. So you can even get it on the Neo Geo if you're willing to spend a significant amount of money. But yeah, like in a lot, hopefully a lot of you have played it. If not, I'd recommend you try and get a copy. It's on, I think I released it on most of the retro systems. I'm sure you can get like a SNES version, like certainly a Mega Drive version, even different box art if you want to get, you know, some Japanese like box art on it. But essentially, it's one of the finest, you know, top-down arena shooters that there is in my opinion. Absolutely love it. It's kind of, again, it's, you know, very simple to play. You control the direction of where you're shooting. There's a lot of power-ups. You've got some grenades. There's hordes of enemies that get into each room. You have to get through the horde to get to the next room, and you can kind of choose which direction you want to go through. And you pick up dog tags that are left on the ground in order to then you can buy extra things and extra kind of power-ups. Massive evil-looking bosses. Even the first, it's Shamima, the first one, which is probably he or she. I want to call it she because it's A at the end of the name around that. Takes up a good 2/3 of the screen, and not an easy entree into the game. It does just get, you know, harder and harder. But yeah, really fun. Tanglewood's good, completely different type of game. But for this one, Xeno Crisis. Don't know how much. Some of the Evercade carts now gone up a bit in price if they're not being, I don't know, they're all being made still, but I don't think it's be too hard to get a good price. Got 2 more games. We're now moving even more into the modern territory. So I've got, yeah, Series X. Again, my son uses probably more than I do. Had to go for an exclusive for it, because otherwise it intermingles a bit with the PlayStation. And haven't played all the games in this series, but I perhaps wish I have. I played 4, but I'm picking 4 as a Horizon 5. Just so much fun. The driving mechanics in this is a true, pick up and play. You don't even have to, if you don't want to, enter into many races. You can just hammer it around, enjoy the music, just enjoy, the stunts, the crashes, the vehicles. There's so many like cars you can get. It's just a beauty of a game. It looks stunning, and yeah, if I'm playing something on the Series X more often than not, it's gonna be that. Final game, PS5. I probably put more hours into this than I did Zelda. Easily over 100 hours, which for me is a rarity. Rare does that ever happen? But this game deserved it. This game kind of needed it to get through the campaign mode. But yeah, the Diablo 4. I'm opening it because bugger all, there's a little code in there. I don't know if I've redeemed it, but bugger all else in there. But just like, fantastic game. First, again, I'll be honest, first Diablo game I've ever got stuck into, and I've always been a bit of a geek at Dungeons and Dragons type stuff. So this really just floated my boat, and just the amount of skill trees that you can kind of follow, the amount of characters, the map is just humongous. Wherever you go, there's some kind of ruckus underway. Being able to go into the dungeons to explore there. The plot, I think the plot is brilliant. I really enjoyed it. Sounds crazy, but I think if it was fleshed out a bit more within a book, I think I could have been all over that. And really good one. Right, I'm going to do the handheld one separately, just because it's going to turn into the biggest video ever otherwise, and I've got a few handheld games, so I'm going to film that straight after this, and it will be uploaded shortly after this one. So yeah, cheers for watching, really appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please check out all of the other videos that folks have done. We come up with far better choices than me, albeit I think you'll probably spot a few common denominators. And any comments below, as always, would love to hear from you. Take care, whatever your plans are, and chat soon. Cheers.